Impunity and the Grace ban as well, and an Arden ban. So really sitting down on that second tier worth of roamers, unless, you know, Blackfeather roam,
Lorelei.
Koshka roam, Lorelei. Let's go. I think this is the first Lorelei we've seen in the tournament thus far.
It is the first Lorelei that I've seen, and I'm pretty sure I've watched every game. I think I might have missed part of one, but this is a very scary composition set up by Tribe here. This is actually what I would probably say for Tribe is their most comfortable draft that they can get. T-Tigers has got his Koshka. Dienzio has got Vox. You know, he's always played Vox. It's just been a hero that works really well for his mechanical skills. And Max Green on this Fortress is just going to be able to help keep the team in range. In the last game, we saw Impunity was running from Koshka quite frequently. It's going to be a little more difficult to do with this Fortress. So out of this Lorelei specifically, we're going to need to see the fish food landing stuns as frequently as you can. And it's very good in kind of these bottleneck choke points. Yeah. If you're able to get a stun down onto multiple enemies, then that can allow the Blackfeather, both with the on point and the Rose offensive, to get a lot of AoE damage down. So we'll have to see what this last pick is here. We're running pretty low on time for Impunity.
They could take their
really
time.
Thinking about
They're
it.
thinking, like, do we want to go CP Blackfeather? Do we want to go Weapon Power Blackfeather? Do we want to combine it with something like a melee laner in the form of a Rona?
Yeah, so this Rona will very likely be in the lane as the laner, which is going to put Blackfeather in the jungle as Crystal Power. And I'm a little worried about that, as we saw how aggressive T-Tigers was in game number 1 on this Koshka. Crystal Power Blackfeather does take a bit of time to ramp up. He really starts to take off, you know, around that level 7, getting into level 8 point, where he's allowed to overdrive that on point. You get the bigger barrier, you get the longer range is also very important. So if Koshka is able to have a similar run as she did in game 1, Blackfeather is much more gold dependent than Kroll is. That first game, they were really putting all the eggs into the Gwen basket. They're not going to be able to do that this game. So if Blackfeather gets behind, it's going to be much more devastating than it already was in game number 1.
So I have to see how Impunity have decided to adapt to that, because they know that that's what's going to happen. They know that the Koshka is going to be aggressive, that T-Tiger and Max Green are going to try and stay in that jungle. They're going to try and live in that jungle, build a little tree house in one of the tree ants, and then you have to see what Impunity are going to do to react to that, because you have to be aware that that's what's going to happen. It's all about adaptability here at Worlds.
Absolutely, and I think the second we saw that Koshka come out first pick, again, very bold statement coming out of Tribe there. As soon as that Koshka came out, I think they knew they can't go the same tactics they tried first game. It's just too risky against that much early game to try to have that single hyper carry mage. You know, Gwen, as the Crystal Power route is a you know, backline mage about the poke, trying to, you know, make it so the enemy doesn't have the health to make an engagement, and they just weren't able to do it with the lead they were able to take. So they're trying to get something that can have a little bit more of a mid-game impact. Obviously, you're still not going to be able to compete with the early game of a Koshka Fortress. I mean, that's crazy jungle aggression right there. But Blackfeather Lorelei, that's going to be a really fun combo to watch as the game goes on. Again, that water wall just can be so game-changing.
That it can. I'm really excited to see exactly how effective this Lorelei can be, because Cote d'Ivoire has been such a consistent roamer across the course of his international career. It's always been very strong, hasn't always had the best of results as part of the team, but him individually, he's played very well. So I'm really excited to see exactly how he pilots this Lorelei. Going for the fish food first, as you say, getting that clam, trying to catch out his enemies, get the stun, also has the AoE damage afterwards. So currently just trying to force Tribe away from the trio in case they did decide to go for it, but Tribe are like, nah, it's going to start at our backs.
I'm actually surprised that DefQ is the one tanking up the minions here in the jungle now. He will probably get the health treants to help heal him up. It would have made more sense for QC, though, as he's obviously Rona. He'll have that book of immunities, and everything will be all right. But now with this fight getting ready to start up here over the treant, will we see Tribe get that first treant again? Convincing Jake to see.
Looks like they've decided not to go for it. Giving it up to Impunity, who'll be happy to secure it for themselves, and that is good for Impunity, you know. A much better early start. It is only a 300 gold lead, but it's something. And now we see Quisi and Cote d'Ivoire come back up into the lane to try and push the NCO out a little bit. Minion Candy is available on Cote d'Ivoire, has been used, and DefQ has one as well. They're going to jump in. Dienzio should be okay with Max Green coming across to help.
Oh, fancy footwork out of Dienzio there. The fish food is coming out. Uses that sonic zoom just at the right time to get him out of harm's way. And he has popped that healing flask so he can stay here in the lane. But with the book uses on QC and Dienzio only having that swift shooter so far, obviously QC's going to have the better sustain. And I'm interested to see how the later portion of this game goes once we get that water wall online by Courtois. That does cleanse crowd control. So if a Yummy Catnip Frenzy is able to make it through, if it does not get reflex block, he can use that ability to help get his teammate out of harm's way.
Right over the Treant here. Courtois to take a scout trap to the back, and so down about half HP. Treant so low, gets taken by Tribe. Here comes QC with a jump. Max Green's low. Tigers in that front line. Mortal Wounds coming out on him. He's going to be able to escape down towards the bottom side of the fight. Max Green below 200 HP, but surviving as well. Impunity continues to chase in, and Tigers is trying to jump on towards that backline. DefQ really has nowhere to go now. Hops back to the Sanctuary as Tiger steps forward, doesn't find him. We see, however, maybe slightly overextended here as he tries to steal away this tree and did get rooted up, so a little bit of mobility for him, takes it away. Tiger's trying to take a tree out of his own to regen. We see continuing to jump in. I think he's just realized he's going to die here. Like, there's not really much way of him to get out of it. Courtois is going to go down as well. 2 kills for Tribe, and a big overextension, in my opinion, from Impunity.
Yeah, that was a huge risk for a single Treant in return. That's now first blood bounty going on over to Tribe, as well as the second kill going to them as well, putting things back into their favor. You know, we were talking about Impunity taking a little bit of an early lead, which, you know, would have been great against this Koshka to keep the Tigers down if possible. But the Tribe were able to just position themselves appropriately enough. They've now found the first fight. They've also found themselves another Treant off the back of taking the one at the beginning of that last fight. And they are looking very good right now. They're, you know, very comfortable. I do really hope to see QC on this Rona really be able to take things in the late game, as again, Koshka will start to fall off. Fortress as well will start to fall off, whereas Lorelei, Rona, and Blackfeather will only accelerate themselves through this game. So even if Impunity are able to keep it close, as long as Blackfeather doesn't start to get snowballed out here, then they should be in a pretty comfortable spot.
It's the next 5 minutes that really define how this game goes. If Tribe are able to get into the enemy jungle, steal away jungle camps from Impunity, stop DefQ from being able to farm up on this Blackfeather, then we'll see Impunity just fall to the wayside and try to take another relatively quick victory. But if T-Tigers cannot find these kills and cannot find these steals, Impunity are in a very good spot to challenge in this second game. Still behind in terms of gold, but it's only about 1,000 at the moment. Tribe now looking for the jump on the corner mark. He's there as well, passing into the face, jump back towards the turret. Tigers gets a little bit of a faux splitter to the head, or to the back. You can split your foe many different ways, horizontally, vertically, diagonally, in an oblique split. A spiral split is the true split of champions.
Interesting one so far. Quarterboy might be a little too far out.
He uses the healing flask, but Dienzio should be able to get the kill with that final ult. There is the Yummy Cabinet Frenzy as well as they dive underneath the turret. Dienzio tanking this one up for the time being. T-Tigers there onto QC, takes him out. DefQ now does have the road defensive, looking for some damage onto Max Green, getting those heart drop stacks up, gets the kill on towards T-Tigers. Wasn't even expecting that. Max Green getting chased in here. Dienzio's like, oh, please don't bring it to me, because DefQ's looking for a triple by himself. Would be a 3v1 if he can take it. Max Green's so low. Heart drop's coming out. Dienzio now, no energy on him, pops the healing flask. Quarterbar here in time. Dienzio can't quite get the final auto out, and Dienzio manages to take down the unstoppable DefQ.
That just absolutely when Dienzio needed it. That resonance bounce comes through just when it looked like DefQ was out safely. Just unfortunate situation, right? One little sliver
would have been the best 1v3 play we've seen thus far.
It almost looked like it for sure, and now DefQ hitting level 6 has picked himself up an infusion in pocket, as well as T-Tigers 7 has one in pocket. They can pop those whenever they're ready. Looking at the farm in the jungle, this is a totally different game this time around. At this 6-minute mark in the last game, T-Tigers was just substantially ahead. I mean, we were looking at a 10-15 CS troll up against 40 CS on Koshka. Now we're pretty even at 39 to 33, so this is where Impunity really starts to stand a chance, is that this mid game is coming, and QC is starting to get more and more tanky. He has that Serpent's Mask complete. He's going to have that sustained in the fights, as well as Lorelei almost level 6. Once that water wall is available, they can essentially kite out the wolves, get the attacks here and there, eventually take them down, turn things around very quickly, get that water wall down for that massive barrier. And that should give QC and Deathview the time they need to kill the India.
And I think the comparison that you really want to be looking at here to see which team is ahead in the game is DefQ and T-Tigers. So at the moment, DefQ ever so slightly ahead in terms of itemization, has a light armor, whereas you don't have the light armor on T-Tigers, although he has a heavy prism compared to the Eclipse prism of DefQ, so it's very even between the two. But if T-Tigers ever gets to a point where he's an item to an item and a half ahead, you can say Tribe will win it. If it stays even, it's probably in Impunity's favor.
Yeah, and a lot of the positioning is going to come down to Quarterboy here, as obviously with the splashdown, he can provide his team the additional movement speed, as well as can prevent Dienzio from making an escape. So we'll have to watch out for those kind of plays.
Gold mine is going to be started up. One flare left in Quarterboy's inventory. Right, there's the attack with the pack. He's going to land with Max Green. They're trying to get onto Dienzio, but the other Captain Frenzy stops him in the track. There is the most defensive squad. Dienzio somehow surviving, but eventually falls, and now Impunity are going to re-engage this fight. T-Tigers running away from Queasy, but it's straight into the face of Crystal Miner. Queasy's not going to give up the ghost on this one very quickly. The turnaround, though, that's half of that Rona's health. Looking for the red mist, doesn't have it up at fourth time being. T-Tigers goes down and Queasy survives. Pops that reflex block at the end. Impunity now winning out that fight, 2 kills to 0. Very strong stuff from them. DefQ trying to steal something away here, but Max Green realizes there may be a Black Feather waiting in the wings.
Definitely might be, but this game has been incredibly close. We've seen the gold lead swing back and forth. Currently, Impunity able to even things up.
This is so good for Impunity.
Oh, absolutely, especially off the back of that first game where Tribe just really looked in control at basically all points. Despite the kills being low, they weren't getting the kills, but they were definitely forcing Impunity out every opportunity they get. They were able to eliminate that Crystal Sentry very early on, and now Tribe, they've gotten some decent damage down on that first turret. They don't get the kill on it, but it is a bit under half at this point. So the next rotation up they make, if Impunity's not there ready to go, they definitely could lose out on that first objective, and that could start to swing things more favorably to Tribe.
So I'm going to try and engage on towards DefQ here, but he should be okay as he forces them away. Something I want to see from Impunity is a little bit more vision control. Tribe in the last game had scout traps all over the map. Impunity here not placing too many, relying on flares from Quarterboy more than the scout traps. The double stun with the fish food on towards Tribe to stop them going for an engage.
Yeah, it was a good timed ability there coming out of Quarterboy, that splash down. Again, if you're using it in those choke points as coming up into the lane, it's going to be huge. There's that turret down.
Great good as well. You have a Captain Frenzy on towards the Lorelei, but the Black Feather you want to catch out because he's taken down one. 1-1 trade thus far as we continue to see the engage from Impunity. T-Tigers there as he jumps back in. QC doing a lot of damage to Red Mist, but the mortal wounds are stopping the healing coming out, and now it's up to Quarterboy to try and keep his Rona alive, but T-Tigers is unrelenting and continues to hunt for his prey. He's going to be able to put a lot of damage down here onto Quarterboy as well. Max Green just dancing around the edge of the fight to make sure he survives. Eventually it will be a third kill going over towards Tribe as T-Tigers secures it. DefQ back up, so no ace for Tribe, but still a 3-for-1 victory in the fight.
Yeah, that was great. Tribe, again, they do such a great job with their objective control. We saw them come into the lane, and as I mentioned, as soon as they get there, if Impunity is not ready to go, if they aren't able to force the wave back early, Tribe has all the damage they need to just chop that first turret down very, very quickly, and then turn the attention back. Fortunately for the side of Impunity, DefQ was able to secure the kill onto Dienzio with that last little breath that he was able to take, and that really kept Tribe from being able to just take everything. They were eventually able to find all three, but if Dienzio lived through that, it would have given him time with the poison shift. He could have healed back up, and it could have been disastrous.
That it could have been. T-Tigers slightly ahead of DefQ now in terms of build as well. Has finished that broken mid, whereas DefQ still sitting on the components. So Tribe just eking a small advantage out here. About 1,000 gold. turrets to nil as well, but Impunity are not giving up the ghost yet. The clam hits on the end, traps him out for the time being, when Max Green goes to the re-engage, has the attack attack, T-Tigers has the yummy captain as well. The tribe will just back away. Once again, no vision at all for Impunity anywhere through this jungle, so Tribe can dance around as much as they want, although they don't have that many scratch traps of their own as well.
No, they definitely don't, and I liked what Quarterboy did in that last fight. Again, we talked about the zoning that this Lorelei can create. Did a great job. It looked like D'Enzio wanted to turn that fight. He wanted to come up through the lane and try to catch them by surprise, but the splashdown definitely kept him from doing so. If he tried to continue that maneuver, the slow would have certainly got him killed. So great plays coming out of Impunity here. They definitely still stand in this game. They're now trying to get this Ambient Golden experience on over to DefQ and QC so that they can get far enough in their builds. This Blackfeather is starting to get towards the Dragon's Eye. There it is right there. And as long as he's able to stay in a fight, that can really change the experience that you have on a Blackfeather. And now QC, the breaking point is complete, has some defense built, and that's a key component here for this Rona, is to keep D'Enzio in the kill zone, to be able to stick, because we've seen it in a couple games already. The Rona versus the Vox matchup, there's just so much kiting potential for the Vox and Sonic Zooms, and definitely gotta be careful.
Resonance Dancer's getting Vox a lot of stats quite quickly. D'Enzio up to 7 as that fight began to erupt, but Impunity deciding they didn't want to take any more of the fray. It's a big Crystal Sentry going down once again. Still 2 lives remaining, a lot slower here from Tribe. Impunity able to hold him back. D'Enzio steps forward once again, and he's willing just to dive underneath that turret, take the shot, but puts the damage back down on towards that Lorelei. He's not allergic to seafood, it would seem.
Definitely not, and definitely a little bit slower paced when T-Tigers doesn't have the same farm as the laners. So, you know, not too terrible. They're still showing that they have control at this point. They were able to take down that Crystal Sentry. Impunity didn't have the means to try to contest it, so they just played it safe and retreated it back to where they can just kind of try to finish things off here. When QC finishes an Atlas Pauldron, if he's able to get an Atlas down onto D'Enzio, that is going to help them so incredibly much by slowing down the breaking point stacks that D'Enzio will be able to build up. So we'll have to see where things go with that. Again, I do like that Shiver Steel, and when paired with the speed boost that Lorelei can give this Rona, it should make it a little bit easier for Rona to stick onto that backline.
Interesting to see Quarterboy going for the clockwork as well for the extra cooldowns, whereas Max Green going for a bit of damage with that aftershock. You expect that from the Fortress, but we talked earlier on about the mid-game of the Fortress and the Koshka. You know, very powerful, but as you get towards this later game, as you get towards these full builds, a traditional roam tends to just have that little bit more for your team. The clan comes up, it's done onto D'Enzio. Is he going to sleep with the fishes tonight, or is he going to be able to make a quick meal and fish and dinner out of this? D'Enzio getting jumped on, but he's able to keep himself alive. Let's wait for it. DefQ gets all the way onto the back line and gets him out with the Rose Offensive. Still somehow surviving. Look at the shield from the water wall. On towards Greasy, keeps him alive. Now DefQ's low. Max Green gets the kill with that aftershock. Greasy jumps in and he's gone down as well. Now it's only up to Quarterboy, but he's going to fall very quickly. A double kill for Max Green. That aftershock paying off dividends, and try to get the ace and clean up Impunity.
Things were looking really good for Impunity there. They were able to get the kill onto D'Enzio very early, but T-Tigers was healthy enough to come through and pick up a couple kills of his own. They're going to go ahead and take down that turret. Quarterboy, as again, with that water wall, has so much ability to change the outcome of this game. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough that time around, but again, it is a much later game at win condition for them. You know, we're kind of at that point in the game where the Koshka and Fortress are still really in their prime. It's going to be just a little bit longer before that Koshka starts to slow down as the defense is starting to get built. I mean, we don't have any shield yet on QC. We have a little bit of shield built on DefQ, but no Aegises yet, which are really going to cut down what Koshka is able to do. And that's what we see. Koshka cleaning up the fights that D'Enzio starts. I mean, it's an assassin.
Yeah.
That's
what he does.
Yeah,
that's what T-Tigers does so well, and that's what D'Enzio and T-Tigers do so well together.
Exactly. Playing towards that win condition, and now we have another fight breaking.
Great start on the T-Tigers, though. They dive on towards D'Enzio. The red mist coming out. D'Enzio's going to fall, and DefQ's so healthy here. Max Green's going to go down as well. Quarterback getting chased off towards the bottom side, but T-Tigers realize he can't do too much about this. The fish is chasing the cat, but T-Tigers might be able to stalk his way away. Looks like Impunity are going to turn their eyes towards the Kraken instead. Quarterbar has started it up. This is great stuff through Impunity, and it's so important for them that they take this game. Their first series of groups, they are already at a 25% loss rate in their group. They've lost one of the 4 matches they will play. If they win this one, they can keep that number low. But if they lose this, they basically lost half of their group stage games. You need to win every single game to have a chance of making it to the quarterfinals, and Impunity now in a much stronger position after taking that crack.
Well, taking that last fight, evening the gold up a little bit. Not quite there. We're still 4,000 ahead for Tribe, but it's not the 6,000 we were at.
Yeah, there are turrets on the map.
Kraken marching down there. Yeah, so definitely a huge opportunity for Impunity here. If they're able to take 2 turrets at least off this push, then they hands down win the trade-off here. They'll equalize the gold, but they'll have taken the turret advantage that Tribe had and basically negated it. Here we go.
Attack of the pack. This feels more like zoning than anything else. They're just trying to push Impunity back, trying to keep that Kraken alive. Koshka and Fort is not the easiest to take down a Kraken with. T-Tiger's going to jump back in. That Kraken's still doing a lot of work. He's trying to get on towards the end zone in that backline. The Remnant's coming out as well. Death's quite low. With the water wall, the massive shield. T-Tiger's still alive. He's going to jump back in on towards Deathq. The turret goes down. Great climb, but it's blocked out. And Quartervoir is somehow still alive. Greasy jumps in, can't quite find his way onto T-Tigers. Going to push him with the Kraken instead. Quartervoir is going to fall. It's going to be 2 kills in favor of Tribe, but Greasy is looking for this turret as well. 3 turrets would be absolutely ginormous for them if they can take it. I think they're going to get it as well. Greasy looking to get his way away will escape. The turret is going to go down to that Kraken as well. Superb stuff from Impunity to secure 3 turrets with that Kraken push. Tigers don't think he's going to be able to make this chase.
No, he shouldn't be able to. Thrown out into the fray. Oh, it's getting close. Nope, T-Tiger's going to pull off. So that is now a little bit of a turret lead coming for Impunity. They have 3 turrets remaining, while Tribe is sitting on just the Vein Crystal turrets at this point. And we have seen the fights start to get to that point, where they are shifting a little bit more into Impunity's favor. However, I think they burned a little too much too early in that last fight, and as soon as Tribe saw that, they kicked it into high gear, turned things around, and were able to take 2 kills, but at what cost? The whole time they were chasing down those kills, that Kraken was wailing away at that turret. QC making that executive decision to go help it out, knowing this Rona out of the fray can definitely help.
Atlas Paulden just finished on Creasy as well, alongside those war treads, so he's in such a good position here. Looks like Quarterbar's going up towards an Echo for the double water wall. He's only 200 gold away from that as well. So if we see that before the next big fight, that is going to be so impactful for Impunity. However, Dienzio, 3 weapon power items, almost finished some armor there as well. Max Green's basically at full build for a Fortress. T-Tiger's at full build basically on that Koshka, just needs to upgrade that armor and upgrade those boots to finish off these builds. So we're getting towards those 6 items, we're getting towards those full team fight builds, and we said in picks and bans we thought perhaps Impunity would have a little bit more strength in the late game, but you still have to play the fights perfectly to win.
Well, the last game was over like a minute ago, so the fact that they're holding their own, in fact ahead in turrets at this point, is definitely huge for them. Now, we do still need to see this Atlas come online for Deathq. While QC can get onto Dienzio pretty consistently, can use that Atlas to slow him down, there's not a whole lot of crowd control that Dienzio has to worry about. You do have
Tigers so low, but here comes Deathq, and I'm sorry, that's one of your 9 lives gone, T-Tigers.
That is 3 of his 9 lives
Yes,
gone.
sorry, that's the third one.
So 14-10 at this point in the game. 2,500 gold lead for the side of Tribe, but we're at that point in the game where the gold lead really starts to not matter. These builds are getting very close to being complete. DefQ maybe a little bit more behind than I'd like to see him at this point, but you know, it is the nature of the beast when you're up against a Koshka who does such a good job in the early game. But now Impunity, they're going for it. They've started this cracking up. All 3 members are here, and I don't know if Tribe can make it in time. And with only 2 turrets remaining, this could be Impunity's opportunity. They're at the point that Koshka is not quite as big of a threat as she once was. We only have 1 Atlas Pauldron as well for Tribe. I would have liked to see one of those come out a little bit earlier for T-Tigers, since you know you're going to fall off in the late game on this Koshka. You know that the Rona, when that first Atlas Pauldron comes through, she's very likely just going to pop the red mist. Attack speed doesn't matter at that point. Getting that second Atlas Pauldron could potentially change the damage source. But here we go, Tribe, they're looking for this fight.
They feel like they need to fight because they don't think they're cracking down in that pure push. Right, screen steps a little bit too far forward, DefQ jumps in. Impunity willing to reset the fight. The Kraken is still pushing in here. It's already into the base, nearing those crystal turrets. Still at full HP as well. Tribe on the back foot. The Clam is going to land up towards the top side, up towards T-Tigers. He's getting chased out here. Perhaps a little bit overextended, somehow surviving up towards the backside, but the fountain has been used, and now Impunity can step into the base of Tribe with no fear. They just want the fight here. They're looking for that first crystal turret. They will take it. The Kraken still over half HP. Tienzio trying to do what he can, building up those breaking point stacks. 11 now. Can he do enough? I don't think so, because the Kraken is still on the side of Impunity, and our hometown heroes are looking for their first win here in the World Finals, in the World Championship here in Singapore. DefQ cleaning up entirely. T-Tiger's going to be the last one to fall. Great play from DefQ, and Impunity are going to tie up the series at 1-1 and take their first win in Singapore.
And Impunity, the heart of Singapore, the home team, able to turn things around, able to take down Tribe, who made that bold statement of that first pick Koshka. Might have bite him in the butt a little bit there, though, because, you know, again, Koshka starts to fall off, and the Rona and Blackfeather really haven't